Today, we're going to be talking about the SOCP by Benchmade, so let's get started. This is SOCP by Benchmade. This is really an incredible self-defense tool. I'm going to show you a bunch of different ways that this can be utilized and what I use it for. I actually carry this on duty every day. I'll show you how I set it up in my vest, although that's not really important because it's going to be an end user thing. But what this allows you to be able to do is be able to defend yourself and also be able to manipulate getting hold of your firearms or equipment without having to get rid of the knife or put it away. So this is my vest. Again, this is not a how to set up your vest video. That's not what this is about. This is where I keep it and how I use it. So I just want you to see how it plays out on my gear. But if we pan down here, obviously I took some stuff off as far as identifying and stuff like that. But I like to keep my mags right on my left-hand side, oriented the way I like to have them. And then right between the mags and my tourniquet is this guy. Again, the SOCP knife. And I'm going to put this on in a second, and I'll show you how this is going to be able to be deployed. On a secondary note, this is the first video we're doing with our brand new DJI wireless mic system, so let us know if you like the sound quality. I'm very interested to hear. So here we go. On a normal setup, I keep my knife on my what we call my support side. I'm a right-handed shooter, so my pistol would be on this side. And this is a tool that I may have to use in order to defend my gun. So I'm going to use the orange gun, not for safety purposes, but just so it's easy to see what I'm going to demonstrate here in a second. I don't have my duty belt on, but let's just assume for a second that I had a belt on, okay? So here's my gun on my right side. Now, if someone were trying to take that gun from me, and again, I'm just showing this as a duty setup because this is how I carry this particular knife, but this would be a great knife also for concealed carry, which we'll get into in a second. But again, in this setup, you know, I feel someone trying to grab my gun and trying to defeat my retention system. I can capture that. I can clamp down on their hands so they can't pull the gun out. And while I'm doing that, I can deploy my dagger, so my knife right here. The beauty about this knife is, one, this loop is incredible. I'm going to show you why this is so important for a myriad of different things. Retention, obviously, but also being able to manipulate the knife and manipulate gear. And then it also comes into another benefit, because if we look real close, I'll put my thumb back here, you're going to see in the back those ridges right here. I know that when it comes to knife people, just like gun people and car people, there's all the specs. We'll put the specs up on the screen. Obviously, you can look at them at your leisure. I'm not going to get into a lot of that. I know there's a lot of steel snobs out there. This is 440C. Understand the purpose of this. This is not a, I'm going to go out and cut ropes for hours or try to make feather sticks for fires. This is a self-defense, hopefully never used kind of tool, and it's more than up to the game to be able to defend myself. So let's just cover that quickly and get that out of the way. So the knife sits in here in the sheath itself, and the sheath I'll show you up close, but really does well. I use some zip ties to really get it into my molly so it never moves, never goes anywhere, and super easy to deploy. Again, someone tries to take the gun, I can clamp down on that, and then I can use whatever I want. I can use the sharp end or the other end. This other end also utilizes as a non-lethal tool as well. I'm going to show you something real quick. Kim is off camera. She's going to grab my wrist, so this is another option. So if someone were to grab a hold of me, and maybe this isn't a time where necessarily it's lethal force, but maybe I just want to get away from this person, I can deploy the knife instead of using the pointed end. We can use either the ring portion of this, or obviously the whatever you want to call those study things, and use that in the top of the hand. I've done this video multiple times from multiple different setups, from CCW classes to self-defense, where I talk about hitting and striking the top of the hand rather than try to do some Kung Fu Ninja move, because the person's typically going to be bigger and stronger than you. That's generally not going to work, but taking a blunt object onto the top of your hand will definitely work. So again, force multiplier, you can use the points, the ends. I can use it in non-lethal capacity, so very cool. Plus, let's talk about retention, which is the other big thing. In a lot of classes, especially a CCW class, I'll pick somebody randomly and I'll say, okay, if I pointed this gun, and assuming it was real, obviously you don't want to get shot by it, you know, what would you use your ninja move, right? And people move the gun or grab it, or someone tries to take it from you, wherever the case is. And we're in this struggle. And I know you're going to come up with your next Kung Fu gun retention move. It's not what this video is about. The point I'm trying to make here is, if someone puts their hands on their gun, there's going to be a struggle for that particular gun. Then I say, okay, now, it doesn't matter, I'll use what I normally use, just a folder, and I'll say, okay, now take this knife. And everyone's like, oh, right? And it's not like I've suddenly increased my skill capacity. It's just that taking this from somebody is going to be much more difficult than a gun. Not to mention the fact that now my finger is also wrapped around it. So this is not, you're not getting this away, right? If I'm still conscious, this isn't coming away. Now, let's talk about the other benefit of this finger loop. And that is that I can utilize this knife and my tools at the same time without having to get rid of it. So let's say, for example, that I have to get this out to do some type of defensive maneuver, and then I get my gun out. I can go directly, without doing anything special, look, I can go directly into a shooting position without having to discard it. Now, I don't have to do anything fancy. Now, I could technically flip this around and get even a better grip. I think that's kind of a waste of time. I don't think if I was fighting for my life, I'm going to flip this around just to do it. But we all know there's a very famous flashlight attachment out there that allows you to flip the flashlight inside out. You could potentially do the same thing with this, but in my opinion, again, just basic skills that you've always done right there. Now let's say I had to do something like a reload. Okay, again, and this is obviously a sim gun, real mag. So same thing, I'm in a shooting position, I need to get some more ammo into my gun. I can do the whole deal right here, never drop the knife. Very, very cool feature for that. Let's talk about another scenario. Let's talk about some more equipment. Let's say I had a firearm out for whatever reason, maybe my light went down, or I'm searching something I don't necessarily want to point my gun at. I still have this knife in my hand. For whatever reason, I can get my flashlight out, and I can still utilize my flashlight, right? My light's on. I can do everything I can. In this particular case, yeah, my blade is actually still sticking out. So if I really had to, it could still be defensive purposes. But the point of this whole thing is I didn't do anything special. There was no technique here. I just opened my hand, took the flashlight, and there it is, just like I normally would. So this isn't really going to impede you to get any piece of equipment that you need. And I don't have to get rid of it or put it in the sheath right away, and I still have it if I need it. Closer look here. I know you guys all want to see the sheath. The sheath is very nice. It's very, very long in comparison. Covers up almost the entire knife minus the quick loop. So it's very easy to get in and out of. I heard some people complain that it didn't retain it a lot. I mean, if I take this upside down and shake it, it's not going to come out. So, I mean, if that's really your deal, like you're doing some Batman stuff, I don't know. But I think that the sheath holds it plenty well. I just use some basic, there's going to be 2 holes in the bottom, 2 holes on the top. I just use zip ties really to put this in, ran through the molly. It's never moved on me. It's on there super secure and allows me to take the dagger in and out real easy. Then you guys can see right here, this is the actual clip, and it is metal. Okay, it does have 2 screws that attach it, so I would recommend taking that out, putting some Loctite on there and screwing those back in just to make sure that they're in there securely. But this clip, and this is, think about this in a pair of pants or jeans or something, your pant is going to come all the way up to here. So pretty much the only thing sticking out, again, is that quick loop. So it's going to keep it very well concealed, but yet still give you really good access to it. Now I would say, as a neck knife, I would say that the sheath, I probably would not run this with that sheath in a neck knife configuration. As I showed you guys, I don't think it's ever going to fall out while you're running or anything like that. But if it was hanging upside down all day, I don't know that that retention is really enough for me personally to run it that way. That said, if we can run it in the pocket, or we can run it on a belt, so it doesn't matter what configuration you want to run this. If you wanted to do it more in a horizontal manner, where you can access it off of a battle belt or a duty belt or even concealed carry, or you're gonna put it in your pocket for deep concealment. Either way, the benefit is that you're gonna be able to deploy it super fast. Obviously, it's a fixed blade knife, so I don't have to worry about deploying any blades. It's always ready to go. It's got some great, hopefully I'll show you from the back of my hand there. It's got some great grip on the finger grooves there. Really holds it in there nicely. It allows you to manipulate the knife any way you want, and it's got a really nice black finish on it. Again, you guys can look up the specs on it, but it's a sharp looking knife too. Well guys, that is the Benchmade SOCP knife. It's a fantastic self-defense knife, whether it's for a duty use or concealed carry use. Really versatile. It's going to allow you to manipulate your gear and whatever you need to do safely without having to discard your knife, and add a non-lethal benefit for self-defense. All right guys, here it comes. I'm going to try to get these all right because we're on a lot of things. So you know where to find us on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, and we put all our premium content on Patreon. Until next time, remember, it's always better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.